Good morning. This is Bruce Schmidt, NDSU Burleigh County Agriculture and Natural Resource Agent. And with today's, we're going to start talking a little bit about some of the new things that are coming out from NDSU that are going to be helping our production ag as we look at last year, the crops production and just choices of what they're going to be able to do this year. And one of the things that they've come up with is a Excel spreadsheet. It's called Crop Compare, and it's a great tool for our farmers to take a look at 18 different crops that are being produced in North Dakota, because this says it is designed for each region. So we would be the South Central region. And they can put in their production costs, they can put in their anticipated yields and the anticipated price, and it will help them evaluate which crops they should be looking at as moneymakers for 2017. Now, but as always, there is a couple things to look at, and one of them is farmers and producers, they all know crop grain prices change rapidly, and depending on the weather and depending on acreages and many other things. So this is just, like I said, is a tool. The better info that they can put into it, the better outcome that they're also going to be getting out of it. So it is available. We've got it as on our webpage. Under Hot Topics, they can just go in there and they can click on Crop Compare Program. It's downloadable, and like I said, it's a fairly easy, quick management tool. Chandra's here now. And
hi, everybody.
We're going to let you one of the biggest topics that we're going to be talking about is an upcoming program that I know you're going to be a big part of.
Right. Okay. And actually, let's introduce it. Have you talked about it at all?
Nope. We just got
thanks
started.
For waiting for me. Welcome back, everybody, to Burleigh County's edition this week of the Extension Connection. Bruce is referencing the 2017 Field to Fork webinars that are available to anybody. And we are especially targeting people who grow stuff, or even if you can your own products. Let's say that you might be somebody who wants to maybe take that next step and go into selling it at a farmer's market, or even at the local co-op, which we have now here in Bismarck-Mandan. And so these webinars get you ready for harvesting, what to look for, food safety stuff. I'm going to actually be providing the third session, which is the subject of regulations as it applies to preparing your food for the public. You guys all know that if you've listened to the show, my background is food science with an emphasis in food safety. So I've written my regulation or two. Actually, we just had a team meeting talking about, writing policy, and kind of the rule of thumb is less is more. Don't give yourself too much, otherwise you're going to have to sort through the headache. But let's talk about these Field to Fork webinars.
Can you give me a little background, because I'm kind of the newbie yet?
Yes.
But how long have they been around? How many years have we been
Good question.
involved with this?
Good question. So our specialist, Julie Garden-Robinson, PhD dietitian over in Fargo, who develops programs for us with NDSU Extension Service, came up with the idea. She found some grant money, and she has created these series of webinars that go from February, in this case, to April this year, and they started in 2016. So it went so well, we were funded again. And actually, I was also part of that team in 2016. And we had some pretty consistent, a mix of extension employees, definitely a mix of producers. And we'd like to even get people on board that want to learn how to make their own wine, or something that might be
I saw that as one of the
let's talk about the subjects too. How about that? So Good question. So 2016, just super excited, and really all you need to do is go out and use your first of all, before we talk about the subjects, how to get on these webinars. Right.
What is the best way?
Right. Okay, so let's go on to your favorite search engine, whether it's Bing or Google. Check out and you can even call us if you're not a computer person, 221-6865. What you want to do is type in NDSU Extension, and then you can even just type in Field to Fork. You'll find that there is a website that specifically has this information out there. And then you click on the Field to Fork webinars link and sign up for, the newsletters about it.
Okay.
And so you can get on to the reminders of, hey, this session's coming up.
Okay.
That's how to find it. Okay, and so subjects that involve, increasing people's knowledge of growing, transporting, processing, preserving, fruits and vegetables safely. And so the first topic starts February 22nd. These are weekly on Wednesdays, of course, and that topic is food safety from field to fork. That just kind of in general. And these are free of charge, by the way. You don't have to register and pay anything, that is. And so really what you need is just sound capability and visual capability to be able to log in and click on the link to watch the webinars.
And how long is the webinar?
I'm pretty sure they're just 1 hour, Bruce, right?
Okay.
So from 2 to 3 Central Time on those Wednesdays. So a little after your lunch hour. Recommended second session is recommended vegetable varieties for North Dakota, March 1st.
And this one is particular interest to me because, as a gardener myself and just having the right variety or having a choice of different things.
Yeah.
Part of the gardening experience for me is trying something new every year.
Right.
Try a vegetable.
Totally. Me too.
I'm not used to it. I'm not sure how it's going to produce. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Just put in a new variety and see what it looks like.
Right.
And this one will be an excellent resource for our people to take a look at.
I agree.
Get some idea what's out there.
I really hope to sit in on that session, listen in on that March 1st session. I totally agree. And, I did take a Master Gardener, our program, Master Gardener, last year, and went through the whole series of, how many sessions is that Master Gardener program?
I believe it's
10 or
10.
10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10 weeks. 400 hours, I think that's what it is.
That sounds right.
Yep, okay. And, I did learn a couple things as it pertains to that vegetable variety. Yeah. And I am just thinking about, I always had trouble growing my broccoli. And here in that Master Gardener section, I learned that, hey, that first floret that comes up, because I'm thinking, what happened? It's floretting already, right away. And you're supposed to break that off, and then it, offers a full head. But if anything, folks, it's fun to talk about this subject. It feels like it's too early, but doesn't it get you ready? I mean, at least you're able to get through the weather blues here.
Nothing better than having a seed catalog show up when it's 20 below.
Actually, that's right. Good call. I don't get one of those. Maybe I need to sign up.
You'll have to subscribe.
Okay, well, it looks like we need to take a break here, and then we'll get into the next several subjects on the Field to Fork webinars NDSU Extension has to offer.
Right now, 22.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
All right, welcome back to Extension Connection. You've got Chandra Zeman-Belinsky, myself here, Family and Consumer Sciences Agent with Burleigh County, and my esteemed colleague,
Bruce Schmidt, Agriculture and Natural Resource Agent.
Yes, and it's great to have Bruce. Now, this is my first time on the radio with Bruce.
That's right, kind of a learning curve for both of us.
Yeah, and so thanks for hanging on a couple minutes there while I had to skip back in here. Today's kind of one thing after another. All right, now we were talking about the Field to Fork webinars that NDSU Extension is offering for anybody interested in understanding how to grow something and kind of taking it to, your table.
Right, and they are on Wednesdays, and the first one is 22nd of February, and we were talking about the one on March 1st.
Right.
That we want to give a special plug because it's both our particular interests. That's for sure.
That's right. Yeah, and so, folks, you have definitely heard Tom Kolb. He's a PhD in horticulture with NDSU Extension, one of our specialists who covers kind of the western area of the state with this subject. And he is fantastic. He's a wealth of knowledge. He does the radio, this 1270 Super Talk radio show with us, and that is the man who's going to present on the 1st of March.
Yep.
So that subject, recommended vegetable varieties for North Dakota, he's going to be the one to talk about it.
And and I had an opportunity to meet with him last week. And we were just kind of talking about with all the snow we've got out there, and just what kind of concerns we're going to be looking at other than gardening when it comes to, trees and shrubs and our lawns and all sorts of things. And I just loved his attitude. He says, Mother Nature is forgiving.
Yeah.
He said, don't get too excited. Let's just see what happens. As far as our trees and everything, they're very resilient. And it was just like, thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Thanks for calming the nerves about what could happen out
I
there.
know it. That is so true. And he does do that. And another thing he does is he makes you feel good about not getting out there and mowing your lawn every single week. So apparently it's good
I
for
have
the
a problem with that.
Yeah.
But that's
See, I'm like, okay, we're lake people. So if we take off or, river or whatever, if we don't get it done, he said, that's okay. Your roots are just getting stronger.
Yeah, see.
And I think about, I know that the scope of that discussion is recommended vegetable varieties. You could even take that into trees, the recommended varieties for North Dakota. You could take it into fruits. And so, if you think that we aren't covering a subject as we get through this list here, because I don't see that on the list.
Right, that is not on there.
Let us know, because we are certainly dynamic. 2018 might bring a whole another list of subjects. I know it did this year.
Well, that'd be, and that's the thing. Getting the feedback from, if you're watching this, we really don't have a record of who's watching and what your feeling is, but just drop us a note.
Email us, call us.
Go further on it. Maybe there could be some local follow-up programming that will connect with this.
That's a great point.
We just want to hear from you, and that'll only make these webinars that much better.
That's that much better.
Future.
Well, and I even just think about, has anybody out there in North Dakota wanted to grow blueberries? My mom and I, we've discussed this for years. Guess what? Blueberries don't grow here. They are not something that grows well in North Dakota. But one thing that we have come up with, and I came across it when we planted the orchards, a couple of our colleagues within the office, organized that, and some of them have since moved to different offices. But, there is a plant out there called, starts with an H. Am I saying it correctly? The hassup plant.
Yep.
And it is just like a blueberry.
Right.
And so if you can't do blueberries, folks, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Don't try to force it, because it has to do with the chemistry of our soil. It's not necessarily the temperature, because you're thinking, why can they grow in Canada and they don't grow here? My husband picks wild blueberries when he goes camping in Canada.
Right.
Puts them in his, his camping pancakes. It's kind of the coolest thing ever, I think. Natural. It's the soil makeup here, and what is it in the soil now? I don't remember, Bruce. Acidity. The pH.
Yep.
There we go. So that's not something, folks, you're going to be able to force. And if you do force it 1 year, it's not going to be a long-term thing.
Well, and that's the thing within Bismarck, Mandan, we can have these little microclimates because of the pavement, and we're just not as open as compared to rural. So,
right.
Sometimes we can get by with a borderline tree, a borderline shrub, a borderline vegetable within town that just 2-3 miles out of town we cannot grow.
Now that's interesting. And see, that's what we want to do today. So hopefully, getting off topic a little bit, and I kind of did that by design. You learn something about the hassup fruit, so that it's a great tasting fruit. Looks just like a blueberry, and that'll grow here in North Dakota. So getting back on track with the coming subjects that will move out to the Field to Fork webinars starting in February on the 22nd. That third week there on a Wednesday, March 8th, is actually my turn to speak. And the subject is, what regulations apply when preparing food for the public? So we'll talk a little bit about, do you have to label it?
Okay.
Do you have to be a commercially recognized kitchen?
Okay.
I mean, and not necessarily, but you do have to have a special label. And so the Department of Health gets in. We'll talk about kind of all the way down from what the government requires down to what your local state, maybe your local county, maybe there's a covenant, maybe your own farmers market has their own little regulations, which is the case with our Biz Market that opens up in April. So, I mean, it kind of depends, and we just want you to know where you can find the tools. We'll talk about that in my session.
That sounds really
And
interesting.
well, it kind of sounds boring, doesn't it?
No,
But
because when I think about it, I mean, I think about county fairs and achievement days and food booths and
totally right.
So I mean,
Are they doing? Is somebody watching over to make sure that they're not, putting something in there just to make a buck or whatever?
and even a lot of churches, this with their community meals,
Totally.
how does it pertain to them? So,
And as a matter of fact, folks, thanks for bringing that up, Bruce. One of the most, the higher numbers of incidents as of late with the big outbreaks, because they're not very often, but the pathogenic outbreaks happen at potlucks. And specifically one of them that was C. botulinum. That's one of the bugs that is in canned goods. And so that's why we cannot can our non-acidic foods without pressure. And a lot of people still try to can their green beans without pressure. You cannot kill that bug with a water bath. You can't boil it long enough. I mean, I think the term is you'd have to boil it for like 4 days straight to get it to that equivalent of 240 degrees. And, because you boil water at what? 212.
Yeah.
You can't amp that up to 240 without doing it's a time and temperature ratio that the time frame is just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And so we simply just can't do it. So you have to get your pressure in there. So that C. botulinum broke out in April of 2015, not very long ago, a year and a half ago, and it killed quite a few people in Ohio because somebody water bath canned their potatoes, made potato salad quickly, from scratch, but quickly, took it to a church event, and it just was bad. Bad news. And so that's exactly right. Your church events, cooking for groups, there is a safety element. We don't want to scare you, but we know more about microbes now than we used to.
Right.
So
we just want to educate.
That's right.
I mean, I think that's the key, and nobody wants this to happen.
Right.
I mean,
and the reality is, a lot of times it won't. The numbers are stacked for you in that it might not happen, but there is a huge potential. It's like high severity but low likelihood. But because the severity is totally catastrophic, we got to talk about it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Now let's get into a couple more subjects. We'll get halfway through this. So the Field to Fork webinars. March 15th is that fourth week, and this is my buddy Dr. Sikowski, and we presented last year. He's going to be talking about U.S. food law, aligning the pieces of the regulatory puzzle, kind of a play off of what I'm going to be talking about the week before, so I can see us getting together. Now, Dr. Sikowski is a professor with the Department of Agribusiness and Applied Economics at NDSU. He's actually an attorney, so he is a, he's taken his bar exam, but he is an instructor with it, and he does teach the food law classes at NDSU. If your kids are interested in even agribusiness, whether it's food science like myself or agribusiness like you, right? You're ag economics. Yeah. Your kids will probably see Dr. Sikowski, one of the best guys to work with. He does get on that regulation bandwagon, kind of like I do sometimes with the science, but that's his topic. It's perfect for him.
Yeah, and it's a good fit. It's a good follow-up to what you're going to be presenting.
Right, and so if you think if you're running a farm without having to worry about food regulation, it's going to hit everybody eventually.
Right, and changes are coming. I mean, it's just we have to, again, the more we can be educated, the more we can be prepared.
All right, we'll get to the rest of the topics after the break.
Right now, 22.
News and Views with Joel Heitkamp. Weekdays on Super Talk 1270.
All right, welcome back to Extension Connection. You're joined this week by Burleigh County. My name is Chandra Zeman-Belinsky, and I'm the Family and Consumer Sciences Agent. I'm here with Bruce.
Bruce Schmidt, Ag and Natural Resource.
Yes, and it's great to have Bruce with us because we are talking about a hot-off-the-press subject here. Just came out this week. NDSU Extension is offering what we call Field to Fork webinars, and we have pulled out all the experts within Extension service, as well as just NDSU professors. And we're bringing you, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks,
10 weeks
of Wednesday webinars, 2 to 3 Central Time. And we were talking about some subjects. The next subject, the 5th week, is going to be Introduction to Home Winemaking. Steve Sagasarf, he's the horticulture agent in Grand Forks County. Man, Steve, he likes growing the grapes.
He does.
And I'm excited for that one.
And again, being new back into Extension, I knew Steve when I worked with Extension before. Very intelligent guy. I'm sure he does a very good job.
Yes, and I imagine so. He's one of my favorite educators within Extension, just because he's so fun to listen to. And anybody with horticulture experience, I'm just like in awe. I almost should have done that, I think. So March 29th, I do like my food, though. March 29th is the week 6. And we will hear about herbs from growing to packing. And we actually have the Dakota College of Botano, a director there of entrepreneurial center for horticulture. So she's, teaches at that Botano College, which is really exciting. Her name's Holly Mobby. And I guess it's exciting because up there they have some great horticulture up by that Lake Metagoshi area.
Right. And I actually attended, of course, at that time it was not Dakota Community College. It was NDSU Botano Branch. So special place. What I like about this is we've got a wide variety of speakers. We've got
That's right.
We've got the NDSU specialist agents. We have the entrepreneurs. We have the professors. It kind of speaks that we're just brought experts in the field to come and present these webinars.
Right. Yes. I mean, we've got, if it's a subject that you've asked for last year, we've gone the extra mile to make sure that the right person's talking about it. And that's exactly right. And so she'll talk about herbs. And then on April 5th, getting into the last 4 sessions here now of the 10 weeks, will the Food Safety Modernization Act guidelines affect your business? Now, somebody from a feed producer standpoint, feed production center manager, Dr. Cook, he's going to talk about it.
Okay.
And this will be kind of interesting because that FSMA, you'll hear it out there, that Food Safety Modernization Act affects any producers of food. So meaning if it's not just straight from the animal to your table or straight from the field to your table, and actually even then, there is a food safety step that's required. Everybody's required to have at least one critical control point to minimize the likelihood of adulteration in your food source.
Okay.
Whether it's bacteria like Listeria or Salmonella or whatever, whether it's chemical, too many pesticides, you're not using the right amount. You've got somebody who's keeping your food sources safe from the government standpoint. The government has stepped in. Now, it used to be higher levels of security for the high-risk foods like meat and dairy, but now, they're taking that down to any production facility.
Okay.
There are exceptions. The Department of Ag within the state standpoint does have some jurisdiction, but it's very similar. They want to know how you're keeping and then also your physical adulteration. So maybe that you're making sure that you're not getting, let's say, wood chips or glass into your product. So there's kind of 3 ways you can adulterate. That's what we mean by that subject. So, you're going to be asked even from a kitchen standpoint, well, you're making those grandma's chocolate chip cookie recipe at your kitchen table. How are you keeping your own hair out of it? Are you going to wear a hairnet in your house? I mean, physical adulteration. So it applies to everything.
Yeah.
And like Dr. Sikowski and I said last year, if you don't think it applies to you, it will in the near future.
Right. And that's there again, getting everyone educated, getting them up to speed on what this really means and how we can make it work.
Get it up to speed. So April 12th, the third to last, I guess. So we've got the 12th, the 19th, and the 26th of April yet to talk about. So next one, update on spotted wing Drosophila, which is a fruit fly in North Dakota. And Esther McGinnis, she has a PhD in horticulture as well, and like Tom over in the west side of the state, Esther focuses on the east side of the state. They work together often, but she will be talking about that fruit fly in North Dakota. And it's interesting. So I have a genetics background too, and I have studied Drosophila melanogaster. So, all these little fruit flies, they all have the Drosophila. So maybe I'll tune into that one.
That's again, you've got a wide variety of that should hit almost everyone's interest.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's do the last two here. How to can low and high acid foods. This is the professor of the Department of Plant Sciences, Cliff Hall. He's, again, Dr. Hall, and he is the man. If you have a question about, is my recipe safe? And, you can spend a penny to verify your recipe with him and validate it, and he's the man that will do it. And he's actually taking time to speak on these webinars, so it's kind of neat. And then the last session in April 26th, we will hear from our other horticulture agent from Cass County, Todd, and he's going to talk about introducing youth to gardening.
Okay.
This is a very exciting subject for both Bruce and me, and if we could really just do anything all day, every day, I think we'd probably do this subject, wouldn't we?
Well,
Programming-wise?
I think so. Actually, I'd like to be in a climate that I could, garden a lot
That's
more
true.
than, but
Longer, yeah.
a little longer, but I have my house plants, so I guess
Yeah,
I'll be okay.
yeah, right. That's funny. I know I used to have somebody come over and water the plants when I was on vacation, and heck, I don't do that. The plants get forgotten when you have a pet. Then the pets get forgotten when you have a kid. Yep. I mean, it just kind of goes downhill. But
I think about myself. It was my grandmother that introduced me to gardening.
Okay.
And it's one of those things. As a new grandpa. As of about 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's something that you kind of think, okay, this is something that we can continue to pass on. And it's kind of cool, thinking about working with the youth of tomorrow and passing on that gardening expertise. Or maybe
That's a
it's
great
not expertise.
perspective.
Sometimes it's just fun in the garden.
Yeah. But whether it's the grandparents or the parents, if somebody holds on to it, doesn't matter who, as long as the next generation learns. That's a great point.
Yep.
I mean, and I'm kind of in that boat from a food science standpoint and, even a culinary standpoint. So we have this neat program that's coming up. If you're a teacher of third grade classes, we have a program called Life on the Farm. And we teach third graders specifically in Burleigh County some things about field to fork, just like this webinar series targeted to adults. And we teach youth how to make what's entailed or what the steps are to make pasta. So we actually make it and we show them how to dry it, and we talk about whole grains and durum wheat, which is a huge crop here in North Dakota. Yep. And so whenever we do this, we talk about, have you ever made pasta before? And it's always the youth who have always said, with my grandma.
Okay.
The grandma is the one who's taking the time to bake cookies and to make pasta with youth today. Okay. It's not the moms, and I can relate to that. I am very busy. I wish, but you know what? Don't beat yourself up, moms out there, just a side tangent. Same thing with gardening as we're talking about it. It doesn't matter who teaches the skill. Let's just get it out there.
Right.
We're all in it together.
Yeah. Because I am concerned, and maybe we can talk about this just for a little while, but the disconnect between the community and the ag industry.
Sure. And that's real.
Do people know where that food is coming from? Do they make the connection as they're driving by the wheat field that, in 6 months to a year, that's going to be bread on the table?
Right.
Do we still have that? Do we still understand the role of our farmers and livestock ranchers in today's market?
Right.
Sometimes I think we're losing that. Maybe not so much here in the Dakota, but as we travel and go out, sometimes I really see we're being disconnected.
Right, absolutely. Well, and that's exactly why we came, and my predecessors, and Bruce has been in Extension for several years, but you just joined this office. And, it started in the Burleigh office, this Life on the Farm program, well before that, but that's what it's trying to address. Yep. So, especially in the more urban counties, now some people would argue that all of North Dakota is considered rural from a population standpoint, but certainly Bismarck is the urban community within Burleigh County, and then you have the rural. We've got Wing and Wilton and several different other communities. Okay, and so the more urban you get, the more disconnect there is, and that is by research. I point that out. So we've pulled some of those stats. But something interesting about that subject of introducing youth to gardening, if you can get them involved in doing it. Our studies just from last year, local data, the youth are 75% more likely to eat the vegetables if they grow them.
Exactly.
And so knowing the process, nourishing their bodies in a more effective way relative to what we teach with the My Plate, food groups, that's where we want to be.
Right. And I know people are saying, well, I don't have big enough yard. I don't have access to a garden spot. But, there is the patio gardening. There's the container type gardening.
Yes.
And, tomatoes are a good, easy one to raise.
Container.
And they can see it there. And just cut it up or just take it right off the vine. So
Right.
there's ways around it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. I used to grow my own wheatgrass so I could juice it.
Really?
So that was my thing in like 2012 to about 2014. Wouldn't mind getting that thing back out. It did really well. You just have to stick around. So if you take off to Mexico, like I like to do once a year, or Hawaii or something, folks, I've got to get a week of warm in the winter, and that's what keeps me in North Dakota. I love this place.
Got to have a week of
All right, well, let's take a break and we'll finish up the segments here. Now, Bruce.
Right now, 23.
Dave Ramsey is heard here. Super Talk 1270.
And we're back with Extension Connection. I'm Bruce Schmidt, Burleigh County Extension Agent. Chandra had to take off as she has another commitment. And we're going to be kind of finishing up the last part of our broadcast today with some of the upcoming things that we'll be handling in the Burleigh County. And really, this is also Morton County. As Jackie Buckley has resigned, we're going to be kind of helping with some of the necessary programming that needs to be done each year. And one of those is the private pesticide certification. And this pertains to our farmers that are out there. They may be ones that are needing recertification, or maybe this is a first-time certificate needed. We have, again, all of the meetings that are being scheduled, but our first one is going to be part of the Agri International on February 14th, and that's going to start with registration at 9:30. One of the things that if you are going to be attending, if you could bring your pesticide card, if you are needing recertification and a driver's license, please bring that to the training. And again, the certification is good for 3 years. The next one after that will be one that we'll be having out at New Salem on the 21st. And again, we will be listing all of these education opportunities on the website, which is, just go out there, whatever your favorite browser is, put NDSU Burleigh County, and that'll bring it right up. Also, in conjunction, we're going to be looking at a number of production meetings. Now is a good time for our farmers to, just like our field to fork, webinars. We also have the opportunity to come face to face with a number of our state specialists. One of the first ones that's going to be coming up in our area, or one that we really want to plug, it's called Getting It Right Soybean Production Meetings. And we have two in our area. The first one is going to be on a Thursday, on January 26th, and that'll be at Washburn. And the next day, January 27th, on a Friday, at Napoleon. Both of these production meetings are going to start 10 o'clock, and they should run till 3 o'clock. And at those meetings, they're going to be discussing some of the past soybean research that has been conducted. We're going to be having all the state specialists that are going to be there. So we're going to be looking at every part of it, taking it from the insects, that could be disease problems, just general production. And it is sponsored by the North Dakota Soybean Council along with our local extension agents. So again, quickly, those dates, Washburn, Thursday, the 26th of January, and from 10 to 3, that's going to be at the Memorial Hall. And then Napoleon the following day, and that is going to be at the Downtowner Banquet Room in Napoleon. Both of those, we encourage our producers to take advantage of those. As I said, we're going to be having the specialists coming out from NDSU on every aspect of soybean production. The other thing, as we're looking at production, is always the marketing. I've had the opportunity to attend the Bismarck State College Ag Marketing Club. Their first meeting, we had a snowstorm on the first meeting, so some of those have been pushed back. But coming up on Monday, January 23rd, this is going to be at the Career Academy on the BSC campus, and this is open to any producers. From 7 to 9 o'clock, they'll have the opportunity to listen to Randy Marv Martinson, Ag, as he looks at the crop, livestock outlook, and also some crop insurance updates. That is the next scheduled marketing club meeting. And then we have February 13th, and we're going to be looking at developing crop budgets. We talked about that a little bit at the beginning of our broadcast today about we do have the South Central North Dakota projected 2017 crop budgets that are available, and they have 18 different crops laid out, and you can plug in your expenses. You can take a look at the state average for our area, and this will help us with our marketing. And that is one of the things, especially as we think about, the ag markets, as I'm pretty sure Randy Martinson will be visiting with us. There's just a lot of uncertainty in our crop and livestock markets today. Part of the reason is the uncertainty is, we will be looking at a new Congress, a new administration coming in. There may be some new policies when it comes to international trade. So there's just a little uncertainty. Plus, if we factor in the fact that we've had actually a couple good years of production and our inventory numbers are quite high. Anytime you have high inventory numbers, you're going to be looking at possibly a suppressed cropping price. And that especially is in the case of wheat. Our marketing people are saying that wheat is going to be somewhat depressed, and we're going to have to be looking at some other possibilities. And that's why this soybean production meeting is probably very timely, because soybeans right now is one of those crops that is looking to be as one of those that if the yield is there, the price should be there, and that may be where some of our farmers will be looking. One of the other things as far as for coming up in our 4-H program is each year at this time we start our 4-H and actually the FFA program with livestock judging. It's an excellent opportunity for our youth. By definition, they are just looking at a class of animals, whether it be beef, sheep, or swine, and they're determining which one is the best producer as far as if it's a marketing class. And it gives those 4-Hers just an excellent opportunity to develop traits that are going to be beneficial, especially in their adult years, as we think about it teaches them some things as communicating clearly, decision making, and just the time of being able to work together with other 4-Hers. You can contact the Burleigh County Extension Office, 221-6865. We can help set you up with our workout schedule. The next workout schedule is going to be tonight out at the 4-H building there. starting at 6 o'clock. We encourage, like I said, it is an excellent program. It's a program that we'll be doing until I believe it's the first weekend in March, when they have an opportunity to go to NDSU campus, and they will take part in a state contest. There's a number of other local contests, but if they would just be interested in coming and checking it out and attending the workouts, that would just, again, be beneficial to them and help us with a great youth program. Finishing up, a couple things that we will have at our office is we do have a hay probe. It can be rented out or charged. A small deposit will be charged, and that'll be returned. But for our producers out there that are going through, maybe they've gone through quite a bit of the hay and they're looking at some of the older stuff that's been in inventory, they can give it an opportunity to probe it, take a look and send it in for a feed analysis, and that'll help them as they're looking at stretching that hay supply for this winter that we've been kind of enduring at this time. So again, you can contact our office and we can set you up with a hay probe. As far as for some of the other things that our office is involved with right now, as we had talked about a couple weeks ago, the weather is allowing us to actually get out there and maybe take a look at our dryer vents, our vents on our roofs, make sure that they are not covered with snow and ice, and especially if we think about our MDU, the natural gas, make sure that the as it's melting off of our roofs, that it's not falling onto our gas lines, and just things that we can take a look at as we again have a really beautiful day out there today, and hopefully we're going to be looking at some pretty good weather in the next few days. So this is Bruce Schmidt, Burleigh County Ag and Natural Resource Agent, wrapping up today's Extension Connection.